Hello everyone, Ichigo Killer 47 here. Today we are revisiting two classic games that define the action-adventure genre. Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver 1 and 2 Remastered. Join me as we explore the eerie landscapes, iconic characters, and the epic story that started it all. This game has made several improvements from the original, and we are going to be talking about them in this video. But before we begin, if you could please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, I'd greatly appreciate it. Before we dive into Soul Reaver 1 and 2, let's take a step back into the beginning. We're talking about the world of Nosgoth, a war-torn region ruled by the tyrannical William the Just. In this world, there are 9 pillars, each represented by a guardian of Nosgoth. But things take a dark turn when these pillars become corrupt. We meet Kain, a weary traveler from Cohagen, who stops by a tavern, but the bartender's not interested in serving him, and things quickly take a turn for the worse.
And so I left, cold of heart and soul, forced to the road and the long, bitter night.
Kain gets murdered, but then he is resurrected by Mortanius, a necromancer, and turned into a vampire, which sets him on a path of vengeance to eviscerate, or any word that YouTube won't ding me for saying, in which someone that ends up being unalived. The first game had a lot of good things to it, a lot of good world building things and traversal. It was really ahead of its time, and if you have any interest in this series, I would highly recommend playing Blood Omen 1.
You will have the blood you hunger for.
Now fast forward 1,000 years and we arrive at the world of Soul Reaver. Kain's now the ruler of Nosgoth, seated on a throne at the ruined pillars. He's got 6 lieutenants, each ruling over a different region, and his favorite is Raziel, our protagonist. Now, Raziel is a good lieutenant. He always cleans his nails and brushes his teeth. But he made the mistake of growing wings, which was entirely his fault. And because of this, he disrespected Kain. Now, that's a big no-no in Kain's book. And as a punishment, Kain rips off Raziel's wings and has his brothers toss him into the abyss, which is a seemingly endless void of death. Now, I know this is a lot to take in. The story is very, very complex, and it involves revenge, portal jumping, and time travel. But here's the thing. The Legacy of Kain series does time travel the best. The writing is top-notch, and the dialogue is some of the best you will ever hear in a video game, movie, comic, or anything for that matter.
You cannot comprehend the magnitude, the rapture, and the tragedy of this moment. And yet you must. If Nosgoth is to be dragged from the wreckage of its damnation, drop a stone into a rushing river. The current simply courses around it and flows on as if the obstruction were never there. You and I are pebbles, Raziel, and have even less hope of disrupting the time stream.
Throughout Soul Reaver 1, you set out to destroy your brethren, and in Soul Reaver 2, you are playing this cat and mouse game, which brings you to uncovering truths as you explore the remnants of the past from the events of Blood Omen 1. And there are a diversity of interesting characters, also played very well by the voice talent throughout the series. That includes Vorador, Janos, and other characters such as the Elder God and Mobius. And they have their own unique perspectives and nuances to their performance, which really drives home at the storytelling of this game. You also explore locations as well as encounter enemies that were previously mentioned from Blood Omen 1. And this really goes on to show how much they thought out this story and how these events play out through this series. It's really quite impressive. Let's talk about the graphics. Now, the character models which received the most improvement, in this case Raziel, which has a significant improvement from his original look. I do believe they still managed, in my opinion, to honor the original design. The environment did not receive this level of upgrade, however. I believe that this is because the fact that in these games you do shift between 2 different maps, and this of course would have required a massive overhaul for a remaster to essentially update 2 different environments for every location. And because of that, I believe the developers probably didn't have the assets or time or even the budget available to them to make these changes more profound than they were in this version of the game. And I believe that's alright. I think they did a good thing in preserving the original, and that is ultimately what this is, a preservation of the original game. Now, the graphical changes that they could have really increased were some of the lighting options, like the beams of light, really still look dated. I honestly believe they could have improved upon those in areas of the game, especially the first game, because in the Tomb Raider Remastered, they are very much improved, the lighting and the bump mapping as well. The good thing is they did keep a lot of pretty much everything in the game from the original. That means all the glyphs, all the secrets and the environments that you can explore, as well as keeping the original niche elements to the game, like when you do a shift with the physical realm to the spectral realm, he raises his shoulders, or when you're at Kain's fortress, you can still teleport behind the enemies to do a surprise attack, which forces them into the water. All those elements are still present in this version of the game. They also added additional accessibility options. For instance, they have a map system now, which allows you to find power-ups and upgrades for Raziel throughout Soul Reaver 1. They don't have much need for this in Soul Reaver 2, however, they still do have the map system and compass to help you find where you need to go, which is really great as well. They also maintained the voiceover and the music from the original game. It is good to hear Tony Jay's voice again as the Elder God, as he is definitely the epitome of this character. He really did give a great performance, and it is sad that we will never hear his performance again.
This abbey has been drowned by the deluge spilling from this wounded land.
Now, in conclusion, this game is definitely a must-have if you're a fan of the series. For newcomers, I would say that this game does not do any hand-holding, so it does require a lot of puzzle solving. Essentially, this game is a puzzle game with platforming elements, and that is ultimately what this game has always been, and that's some of its greatest strengths. Now, obviously, they could have improved like the water and lighting effects, as you can see here, but let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'd really appreciate to know what you guys feel like they could have done or done differently, and what you'd like to see in the future. As always, please like, comment, subscribe, and this is Ichigo Killer 47.